The place where we transform information overload into, well, actionable intelligence.
That's right. We don't just give you things to read.
No, we really try to extract the precise strategies, the things that lead to real measurable growth for you.
And today, we're focusing on a topic that, wow, it touches almost everyone globally. Learning English.
Huge topic.
But, and this is key, this isn't just a beginner's guide, right?
Not at all.
This deep dive is about learning English smartly. It's really about optimizing your time.
Yeah, so you can actually feel the progress you're working so hard for.
Exactly. Feel that progress.
Because that's the critical distinction, isn't it? We know you, listening right now, you're likely dedicating time, energy. You're busy.
Totally.
You're watching stuff, looking up words, maybe reading notes. But still, so many learners tell us they just feel stuck.
Like running on a treadmill.
Exactly. Putting in all this effort, but not actually, moving forward. It's frustrating.
That feeling, that being busy without making real progress. We call that the time debt.
Time debt. I like that.
Yeah. And our mission today, really digging into the source material, the latest research and strategies, it's to liquidate that debt for you.
Okay, let's do it.
We want to pinpoint those common time-wasting habits, the things that just drain your energy, and then replace them with small, really high-impact daily steps. Things that actually guarantee consistent progress, little wins.
So our core promise today is efficiency. Like a blueprint for getting the maximum return on the effort you're already putting in.
That's the goal.
By the end of this deep dive, you should have a clear sort of three-part framework to stop feeling just busy and start feeling, well, proficient.
Proficient. That's the word. So let's jump straight in. Let's talk about what the sources flagged as the worst offenders, the biggest time sinks.
Makes sense. Before we build the good habits, we got to clear out the bad ones, the hurdles.
Right. We need to identify the friction first. We've broken these down into 3 big time wasters.
Okay, 3 big ones. Let's start with, well, the one that feels maybe the most basic, the one almost every beginner does instinctively.
You got it. It's the trap of translating everything.
Ah, okay. Tell me more. Because it feels so responsible, right? You see a word you don't know.
Of course. You want to know what it means. It seems logical.
Yeah.
But neurologically, for actually acquiring the language, it can be, well, catastrophic.
Catastrophic. Wow. Okay, why is it so damaging then? If I see a new word, isn't looking it up the obvious first step?
Well, it creates 2 massive problems. First, there's the mechanical issue.
Okay.
You completely shatter the rhythm, the flow of whatever you're doing, reading or listening.
Right.
Imagine trying to follow a story, or even a song, like the analogy in the sources, but you stop every 10 seconds to look up a word.
Yeah, you'd lose the plot completely.
Totally. By the time you start again, you've forgotten the context, who's talking, the feeling. You're constantly restarting your brain's engine.
It's like trying to drive a car, but only ever using first gear. Just start, stop, start, stop.
Exactly. Burns a ton of mental fuel, but you don't get very far, do you?
Not at all. Okay, so that's the mechanical problem. What's the second one? You said it was more critical.
Yeah, this one's deeper. It's the neurological disconnect. When you look up a translation, your brain creates a direct link, like a little bridge, between the English word and the word in your own language.
Okay.
You actually bypass the crucial step of connecting that English word to the idea, the concept, or the feeling it represents.
Ah, I see. So instead of learning that umbrella connects to, the thing that keeps rain off me,
Right.
I'm just learning umbrella connects to whatever the word is in my language. Let's say parapluie, if I'm French.
Precisely.
Right.
The sources are really clear on this. Efficient learning, it demands that you practice understanding the general meaning from context clues.
Guessing, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Educated guessing. Instead of instantly reaching for the dictionary, you force yourself, just for a moment, to guess from the words around it, or the picture, or just the situation.
That sounds hard.
It is, at first. But one study we looked at, it showed learners who consistently tried to use context clues boosted their long-term word recall by, over 40%.
40%? Wow.
Yeah, compared to the ones who just defaulted to the dictionary every single time. You're basically training your brain to think in English, not just translate to English. Big difference.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Cut out the middleman, the translation step.
You got it.
All right, so that's time waster number 1. Stop translating everything. What's the second big pitfall? This one seems to involve just consuming.
Yeah, it does. Time waster number 2. Watching too much English content without ever speaking.
Ah, the Netflix strap.
Exactly. It's so common now with streaming everywhere. Learners feel really productive, right?
Hmm.
I watched 3 hours of that series in English.
And exposure is good, right? We're not saying don't watch things.
No, absolutely not. Exposure is vital. But relying only on movies, TV shows, videos, it neglects a really fundamental part of language.
Which is?
Physical production, actually making the sounds.
Right. Okay, you mentioned the mouth muscle earlier. Let's dig into that. Why isn't just sitting and watching enough to learn to speak?
Because speaking isn't just in your head. It's not purely cognitive. It's a super complex motor skill.
Motor skill. Like playing piano or something.
Kind of, yeah.
Think about it. We have dozens of little muscles and things in our mouth, and throat, the tongue, lips, soft palate, jaw.
Articulators.
Exactly, articulators. And these need actual physical training to make the specific sounds and rhythms of English.
Especially sounds that don't exist in your native language.
Precisely. If your language doesn't have, say, the sound, your mouth is literally unused to forming it. The muscles are there, sure, but the pathways in your brain controlling those fine movements for English sounds, they're weak, untrained.
Okay, so I might know the word thought in my head.
Right. You recognize it when you hear it.
But my mouth struggles to actually do then the O, then the T. It feels clumsy.
That's it, exactly. Your mouth has to learn the physical gymnastics needed for those sounds and blends, like squirrel. That's a tough one. Oh, yeah.
If you only watch, you're just inputting the data. The output system, the speaking parts, they get weak from lack of use. You know what to say, maybe, but when you try, your mouth just resists.
The analogy in the sources was learning to swim just by watching videos, right?
Perfect analogy. You can know all the theory, watch Olympic swimmers for hours.
But you'll still sink if you don't actually jump in the water and practice moving your arms and legs.
You have to jump in. You have to get wet.
But, jumping in is scary for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Speaking feels high stakes, whereas watching feels safe, comfortable. How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, that fear is real. We bridge it with very small, manageable steps, things like shadowing, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But the big mindset shift is just acknowledging it. Watching is great input, fantastic. But speaking is essential practice. They aren't interchangeable. You need both.
Got it. Input and output. Okay, time waster number 3. This one's interesting because people feel like they're being really active and studious.
Oh yeah, this is the perfectionist trap.
Right. Always reviewing instead of practicing.
This is the learner who spends hours and hours going over grammar rules again, rereading their notes, maybe making beautiful color-coded flashcards.
Organizing the word lists looks super industrious.
Totally. Look like the model student. But they're stuck.
Stuck how?
They're stuck in the loop of preparation. They're always getting ready, but never actually doing.
It's like endlessly studying the map, but never starting the journey.
Good one. Or like the source analogy, studying really hard for the test, but never actually sitting down and taking the test.
So what's happening in the brain there? They know the rules, right?
They recognize the rules. That's the key difference. They're stuck in recognition memory.
Recognition memory.
Yeah, they see the rule on the page or the word on their flashcard and they think, yes, I know that. But they haven't transitioned to recall memory. That's the ability to pull that rule or word out of your brain actively, instantly, and use it correctly in a real sentence, in a real conversation without thinking too hard.
Okay. So knowing the theory of, say, the present perfect tense versus actually using it correctly when someone asks, what have you been up to?
Exactly. If you spend 10 hours reviewing the subtle differences between past simple and present perfect.
Which people do.
Oh, yeah. But you never force yourself to speak out loud using both tenses actively, trying to choose the right one on the fly. Those 10 hours, they mainly just cemented the rules in your notebook, not in your usable English toolkit.
So the knowledge stays theoretical.
Right. The sources call it a failure of application. You have to apply what you learn. The critical shift, the mindset change needed is this. Using English is practicing English. Reading, listening, writing, speaking. That is the practice.
Not just preparing to practice.
Exactly. Move the knowledge out of the notebook and into your mouth, into your fingers typing an email, into understanding what you hear. Make it functional.
That distinction, recognition versus recall, preparation versus application, that's really powerful. Okay, so if we manage to avoid those 3 big time wasters.
Stop translating everything.
Stop only watching without speaking.
And stop just reviewing rules without using them.
Right. If we cut those out, what should we be doing? Let's shift fully now to the positive side. The small, smart, impactful strategies for real progress.
Okay, let's build the positive habits. And the absolute foundation for success in language learning, according to everything we looked at, it's not about bursts of intense effort.
No.
No, it's about consistency.
Right, showing up regularly.
Every day, ideally. So tip number 1 is straightforward. Make a short daily routine.
And I like the emphasis there on short. We're not asking people to quit their jobs and study English full-time.
Absolutely not. That's unrealistic and often counterproductive. The key idea is that doing a little bit every single day, maybe just 10 or 15 minutes, is way, way more effective than a huge 2-hour cram session once a week.
Why is that? Why is daily better than, say, a big Saturday morning block?
2 main reasons. First, consistency builds habit. It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. Second, short commitments massively reduce what psychologists call decision fatigue.
I don't feel like doing 2 hours right now feeling.
Exactly. When you know your English task is only 10 or 15 minutes, you're much less likely to put it off or skip it altogether. It feels easy to start.
So that 15 minutes becomes a little victory. And that victory makes you feel good, makes you want to do it again tomorrow. It builds momentum.
Precisely. It's about building that positive feedback loop.
Okay, so what does a super efficient, high-impact 10 or 15 minutes actually look like? Give us some concrete examples.
It needs to be focused. Either focused production speaking or writing, or highly focused input, like careful listening.
Okay.
So for maybe a beginner, A1 or A2 level, it could be listening to one short English song. Just focus on the chorus. Really listen. Then repeat those, say 3 lines out loud 3 times. Try to match the singer's rhythm.
Simple, focused, active. Got it. What about someone more intermediate, B1 or B2?
For them, it could be maybe saying 5 complex sentences out loud about a real issue they're facing at work. Or maybe writing a short email in English without reaching for Google Translate at all.
Challenging, but achievable in 15 minutes.
Exactly. The crucial thing is that the routine is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You do it every day, and it's easily achievable, so you do it.
I love that, stacking those small daily wins. Okay, let's move to my favorite technique, especially for tackling that mouth muscle problem we talked about. Tip number 2, practice shadowing.
Ah, yes, shadowing. This is such a powerful technique. It's like a secret weapon because it forces your brain to do several things at once in a way that really trains both your listening and your speaking mechanics.
It's the antidote to just passively watching.
Right, absolutely. It forces active engagement.
Okay, for anyone listening who hasn't heard of shadowing or isn't quite sure what it involves, can you break down the technique really clearly? How do you do it?
Sure. Shadowing means you listen to English, usually a recording of a native speaker, and you speak at the exact same time, like you're their shadow or their echo.
So not listen, then repeat. You repeat while they're still speaking.
Exactly. You're not waiting for them to finish the sentence. You hear a short chunk, maybe just 3, 4, 5 words, and you immediately repeat those words out loud.
Wow, okay.
And the key is, you're not just repeating the words. You're focusing intensely on mimicking everything about how they say it. The rhythm, the speed, the ups and downs of their voice, intonation, and the pronunciation of the sounds.
You're trying to sound exactly like them in real time.
That's the goal. You're tracking their pace, being their shadow.
Okay, but hang on. That sounds incredibly difficult, especially when you first try it. Won't people just get frustrated and give up? How do you push through that initial awkwardness?
That difficulty, that feeling of your brain working really hard, that's the proof that it's effective. It's high cognitive load, as they say.
Yeah.
It forces your brain to process the incoming sound and prepare the motor commands for speaking almost simultaneously. That's why it works so well.
Okay. But still, how do you make it less terrifying to start?
Good question. You need to set yourself up for success. First, choose the right material. Don't try shadowing a fast-talking comedian or a complex lecture right away.
Right.
Pick something slightly below your comfortable listening level. Maybe simple news headlines read slowly, or clear dialogues from a textbook, or even children's stories.
Okay, easy material. What else?
Use headphones that helps you hear the model voice clearly. Repeat only very short bursts at first, maybe just 2 or 3 words. And here's a key tip. Prioritize copying the music of the language.
The music. You mean the rhythm and intonation?
Exactly, the prosody. Focus more on matching the rhythm and the stress patterns than getting every single word perfect, especially at the start. That flow is crucial.
That makes sense. Focusing on the overall sound and flow rather than individual words. That's what makes shadowing different from just basic repetition drills.
Absolutely. It trained your ear for how English really sounds in connected speech, and it trained your mouth, those articulators we talked about, to produce that flow. You're correcting your pronunciation with alive guys, not just guessing.
Powerful stuff. Okay, Tip number 3 for smart daily learning. This one is about using that dead time we all have. Listen to English during daily tasks, the background bath.
Yeah, this is all about integration, fitting English into the cracks of your day without needing dedicated study time.
So when you're commuting, walking the dog, doing dishes, folding laundry.
Exactly. Anytime your hands are busy but your ears are free, just put on some English content in the background.
But wait, if I'm focused on, say, chopping vegetables for dinner, I'm not really listening properly. How can my brain learn if I'm not paying 100% attention? Won't it just be noise?
That's a really common question, and it highlights a misunderstanding of the goal here. The background bath isn't primarily for learning new vocabulary or complex grammar rules.
Okay, so what is it for?
It's for normalizing the soundscape of the English language for your brain.
Normalizing the soundscape. Tell me more.
Through this kind of passive, low-focus exposure, your brain gradually gets accustomed to the unique rhythms, the typical speeds, the pauses, the subtle ups and downs, the overall feel of spoken English. It starts to sound less foreign.
So it's not about actively trying to understand every word like I would if I were studying.
Exactly. You're just letting the sounds wash over you like a bath. You might only pick up 10% or 20% consciously, and that's fine.
So how does that help long term?
It lowers what linguists call the affective filter. That's the psychological barrier, the feeling of anxiety or resistance that can block learning. When English starts to sound familiar, less strange, less jarring, that filter goes down.
So when I do sit down later for focused study or try to have a conversation,
Your brain isn't fighting the basic sound of the language anymore. It feels more normal, more comfortable, like part of your environment. Familiarity breeds confidence. The background bath makes focused learning easier down the line.
that's a subtle but really interesting psychological benefit, making the unfamiliar feel familiar. Okay, final tip in this section. Focusing on efficiency in what we learn. Focus on real-life vocabulary.
Yes, this is all about utility. Getting the most bang for your vocabulary learning buck. We have to avoid the trap of learning words that are just useless to us personally.
Like those long lists of obscure words from old novels or generic vocabulary apps.
Exactly. Or words related to topics you'll literally never talk about. If you're learning English for your job in IT, spending hours learning words about 18th century farming equipment is probably not the best use of your time.
Probably not. So where should learners focus their efforts when choosing what words to learn?
The focus has to be hyper-relevant to your immediate world. Think about it. Where do you spend your time? What do you talk about?
Okay, so my home, my family, my job, my hobbies.
Perfect. The supermarket, the news topics you follow, the kinds of conversations you actually have with friends or colleagues, that's where you should be collecting vocabulary.
The sources suggested keeping a specific kind of journal.
Yeah, a context-based journal. So if you learn a new word related to cooking, don't just write it in a long list. Maybe write it on a sticky note and put it on the fridge, or use it immediately while you're actually cooking dinner that night. Link the word to the real-world context.
This ties back to what you said earlier about the brain, doesn't it? The brain prioritizes useful information.
Absolutely. The brain is incredibly efficient, maybe even a bit lazy. It wants to hold on to information that helps you navigate your daily life, survive, communicate effectively.
So if I learn words related to medieval architecture, but I live in a modern apartment and work in finance,
Your brain is likely to flag those words as low priority and discard them pretty quickly because they lack immediate utility. There's no hook to hang them on in your daily experience.
whereas if I learn words about food or meetings or ordering coffee,
You'll use them almost immediately. When you go shopping, when you're at work, when you grab a coffee. This makes the knowledge instantly applicable. And guess what? That makes the learning process feel more successful, more rewarding, and honestly more fun.
utility equals motivation, basically.
In large part, yes, real-life relevance is key.
Okay, so we've covered how to use time smartly and integrate English naturally. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of making things stick in our memory, building that momentum. Let's talk about the 4 core habits for faster progress.
Right, this section is all about focused implementation, how to actually wire these skills into your brain and create the psychological conditions for success. Habit number 1, set small goals.
We touched on this with the short daily routine, but let's delve into the why here. I get that small goals are good, but sometimes that 10 or 15 minutes a day can feel insignificant compared to the 2 hours I think I should be doing. How do we convince ourselves to trust that tiny effort?
Yeah, that feeling comes from the all-or-nothing thinking trap, which is just poison for consistency. Setting a huge, vague goal like, I'm going to be fluent by Christmas.
We've all done it.
We have. but it almost guarantees failure. And when you fail at that huge goal, what happens? You feel bad, you get demotivated, maybe your brain even releases stress hormones, and you start associating English learning with negative feelings, with failure. It
Right.
kicks off that shame cycle you mentioned.
That I'm just no good at this spiral.
Exactly. But small goals, they are, by definition, easy to achieve. And when you achieve even a tiny goal, I successfully shadowed one sentence today, or I understood the main idea of that 1-minute news clip, your brain gives you a little reward.
Dopamine.
Yep, a little hit of dopamine. That feels good. It creates a positive feedback loop. You feel successful, which motivates you to take the next small step to get the next little win. Trust the tiny efforts because they compound massively over time. Those daily wins stack up.
Okay, give us another example of a really effective type of small goal.
The most powerful small goals are often process-based, not outcome-based. Meaning, instead of focusing on the end result, like, I will learn 500 words, focus on the action you will take. Like, for the next 5 days, I will spend 10 minutes actively listening to podcast X and trying to write down 3 new phrases I hear.
So the goal is the doing of the task, not some potentially distant result.
Exactly. Or, this week, I will record myself speaking for 1 minute 3 times. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound SMART goals, basically, but really small ones. You control the input, the effort, not necessarily the immediate output.
Focus on the process, the results will follow.
Got it. Okay, habit number 2 for momentum. Use repetition in context. We already established that just repeating a word over and over in isolation doesn't work well. So what's the fix?
The fix comes back to how the brain actually learns and remembers. Our brains aren't great at remembering isolated bits of data. They're brilliant at remembering connections, relationships, and structures.
Yeah.
So just chanting a word like important, 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 it's like handing your brain a single loose brick.
Doesn't know where it fits.
Exactly. The brain's like, okay, a brick. What do I do with this? The word stays abstract, disconnected.
So how do we give it context? How do we show the brain where the brick goes in the wall? The solution is to repeat the new word or phrase, but always within different meaningful sentences, and ideally related to real situations. This anchors the word into the grammar, the syntax, the structure it needs to actually function in the language.
So you're teaching the brain the word and how it connects to other words.
Precisely. So instead of just repeating important, you'd practice saying things like, this meeting is really important, or it's important to finish this today, or she shared some important news with me.
And maybe even try writing a question using it, like, why is this so important?
Perfect. Each time you use it in a different sentence structure, a different context, you're activating different neural pathways. You're showing your brain multiple ways to use that word, making it flexible and truly functional. That's far more effective for long-term recall than just the isolated repetition.
Makes total sense. Embed the word in the network. Okay, habit number 3. This one involves technology most of us have in our pocket, but it can feel a bit awkward. Record your voice. The free teacher.
Ah, yes, the cringe factor. Hearing your own voice recorded can be weird, for sure.
Definitely. Why is that, by the way? Why does our recorded voice sound so different and often, well, worse than we think?
It's physics, basically. When we speak, we hear our voice mostly through bone conduction vibrations, traveling through our skull directly to our inner ear. That gives it a richer, deeper sound to us.
Okay.
But a recording captures only the sound traveling through the air, which is how everyone else hears us. So the recording is actually the more accurate representation of how you sound externally.
Right. And in language learning, why is hearing that external version so beneficial, even if it makes us squirm a bit?
Because it provides instant objective feedback. It becomes your free teacher, like the source says.
How so? How does it teach?
There's often a gap between our intention, how we think we sound or how we want to sound, maybe like the native speaker we're imitating, and our actual production.
What really comes out of our mouth?
Exactly. When you listen back to your recording, maybe you recorded yourself reading a sentence or trying that shadowing technique, you can instantly hear the difference. Oh, I stressed the wrong syllable there, or wow, my R sound is really off, or I didn't pause where the native speaker did.
So you can pinpoint your own errors.
Immediately and accurately. You don't need someone else to point out every little thing. Your recording highlights the areas needing work. It allows for really targeted self-correction. It's incredibly efficient feedback.
It forces you to become your own active listener, your own critic, which has to accelerate improvement. Okay, powerful habit. And finally, linking back directly to activating that mouth muscle, habit number 4, speak out loud every day.
This one is just non-negotiable.
Yep.
Absolutely crucial. And the key is it needs to happen even if you're completely alone.
Right. You don't need a conversation partner for this habit.
Not at all. If you're alone, you talk to yourself. Out loud.
Okay, but what do you say? Does it matter? What are the easiest ways to actually do this?
The simplest approach is self-narration. Just describe what you're doing, thinking, or seeing in English as you go about your day.
Like a running commentary.
Exactly. It can be incredibly simple. Okay, I'm walking to the kitchen now. I feel a bit tired. I think I need some coffee. Ah, the sun is shining outside today. I see a red car.
Just vocalizing your internal monologue, but in English.
Pretty much. Or describe your plans.
Yeah.
Tonight, I will cook pasta. Then I want to watch a film. Keep the sentences simple at first if you need to.
And the power of doing this, even if it feels a bit silly initially, is what exactly?
It forces instantaneous recall and production. You can't stop and meticulously craft the perfect sentence or look up every word. You just have to say something.
Right. It bypasses the perfectionism filter.
It does. And crucially, it builds that physical muscle memory for speaking English.
Yeah.
Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, they're getting a constant low-pressure workout. You're turning those abstract grammar rules and vocabulary words into automatic physical habits. It's consistent exercise for your entire English production system.
Simple, free, and highly effective. Okay, those 4 habits, small goals, contextual repetition, recording yourself, and daily speaking seem like a solid foundation for building momentum.
They really are. They target both the psychological and the physical aspects of learning.
So we've got the smart time use strategies, we've got the core habits for building momentum. Let's wrap up with the underlying philosophy. The mindset shifts needed to make all this effort truly effective and sustainable. It boils down to quality over quantity.
Absolutely. This first principle really cuts through a lot of common but ineffective study habits. Repeat less, but with full focus.
Okay, this pushes back against that old school idea of just drilling things endlessly, right? Like writing a word out 100 times or saying it 50 times till you're bored senseless.
Exactly, that kind of mindless rote repetition. It's mostly just passive noise for your brain. The sources we looked at were emphatic. The quality of your attention during repetition is exponentially more important than the sheer quantity, the number of times you do it.
Why is focused attention so much more powerful?
Because when you're learning lazily, maybe half listening while scrolling on your phone, or repeating words while your mind is wandering, you're simply not engaging the parts of your brain needed for deep learning and memory consolidation, especially areas like the hippocampus.
You're just going through the motions.
Pretty much. Your brain isn't tagging the information as important or making strong connections.
The sources gave a really stark ratio to illustrate this point, didn't they?
They did, and it's worth remembering. The research suggests that something like 10 minutes of lazy, distracted, passive repetition gives you roughly the same benefit as just 1 minute of truly focused, deliberate practice, like intense shadowing.
Wow, a 10-to-1 difference. That's huge.
It really is. It should completely change how you think about your study time. If you only have 10 minutes, don't try to cram in 50 repetitions mindlessly. Instead, spend that entire 10 minutes being 100% present, fully focused on the sound, the rhythm, the meaning, the feeling of the language. Be deliberate. Make every single minute count by giving it your full attention.
It's the difference between just doing the task and actually engaging with the material mentally. Okay, powerful principle. Principle number 2 for quality learning addresses that annoying problem of forgetting things almost as soon as you learn them. Use new words on the same day, 3 times.
The forgetting curve. We learn a great new word in the morning, feel pleased with ourselves.
And by dinner time, it's vanished. Poof.
Exactly. It happens because the word probably got logged briefly in your receptive vocabulary. You'd recognize it if you saw it again soon. But your brain never got the signal that this word was important enough to move into your active, productive, long-term memory store. It wasn't anchored.
So how do we send that, hey brain, this word matters signal? How do we anchor it immediately?
Through immediate application. The method suggested is straightforward. You need to actively use the new word 3 times in meaningful ways very soon after learning it, ideally on the same day.
3 times? Why 3?
It seems to be a good number to force retrieval and application from different angles, really cementing it. It forces the transition from just passively recognizing the word to actively using it as a skill.
Okay, give us 3 distinct ways someone listening could actually do those 3 usages right after learning a new word, say, essential.
Okay, usage 1. Write it. Write a sentence using essential that also maybe uses a grammar point you're working on. It is essential that we submit the report by 5 p.m. Usage 2. Speak it. Say it out loud in a different sentence, maybe talking to yourself, or even better, slipping it into a conversation if possible. Getting enough sleep is essential for concentration, even if it feels a little forced at first.
Okay, write it, speak it. What's the third?
Usage 3. Apply it contextually. Try to use it in a real communication task, however small. Maybe post a comment online using the word, or send a text or email, incorporating it naturally. Just confirming the essential points from our call. This takes it out of the study context and into the real-world context.
So you've hit it from writing, speaking, and real application angles. That forces your brain to treat it as functional, as real.
Exactly. It significantly increases the chance that the word will stick.
Brilliant. Okay, principle number 3 tackles maybe the biggest psychological hurdle of all for learners. Start speaking now. Don't wait for perfect.
Oh, this is a huge one. This fear of making mistakes, of sounding stupid, of not being ready yet, it paralyzes so many potential speakers, more than any lack of actual ability, I'd say.
Yeah, that feeling of, I'll start speaking when my English is better, or I need to master the grammar first. We hear it all the time. It's the waiting game.
It is, and it's completely counterproductive, isn't it? It's like waiting to get fit before you go to the gym.
Exactly. You go to the gym to get fit, you speak to get better at speaking.
Precisely. The reality is you absolutely do not need perfect English to start communicating. You just need functional English. And the only way to improve your speaking is, well, to speak.
Even if it's messy at first.
Especially when it's messy at first. Those mistakes, those moments where you stumble or can't find the right word, they are not failures. They are data. They are essential feedback.
They're teachers, as the sources put it.
Exactly. Mistakes shine a spotlight directly on the areas where you need more practice or more study. They show you the gaps, allowing you to focus your learning time much more efficiently afterwards. They guide you.
So embracing the mistakes, seeing them as information, not as judgment. The research consistently shows that learners who prioritize just getting their message across, communication over grammatical perfection, they actually advance much faster in overall fluency.
It's true. It's like that analogy of learning to ride a bike again.
You can't learn balance by just watching YouTube videos about cycling theory.
Nope. You have to get on the bike, wobble, probably fall off a few times,
Yeah.
and your body learns through those mistakes, through that direct experience.
Right.
Speaking is the same. You got to get on the bike.
Get on the bike. Love it. Okay, final mindset shift. And this one is super relevant in today's world of endless online hacks.
Yeah.
Be careful with magic tips online.
Oh boy, yes. The internet is flooded with these, isn't it?
It really is. What characterizes a magic tip in the context of language learning? What should people watch out for?
Usually they promise really spectacular results, become fluent in 30 days, with suspiciously little effort. Just listen while you sleep.
Right, the quick fix, the secret shortcut that nobody else knows.
Exactly. They often prey on desperation or confirmation bias. People want to believe there's an easy way. Things like, the one weird trick native speakers don't want you to know, or this brain hack eliminates grammar study forever.
Clickbait, basically, often designed to sell a course or a product.
Often, yes, or just to get views. The fundamental truth, confirmed again and again by solid research and experienced learners, is unfortunately less glamorous.
Which is?
Learning a language like English takes time, and it takes consistent, focused effort. There really is no secret shortcut, no magic pill, no overnight transformation.
So the real magic, if there is any.
The real magic lies in the compound effect of those consistent, small, focused steps we've been talking about. Showing up every day, using effective techniques like shadowing and contextual repetition, focusing on quality over quantity, and just keeping going. Trust the process, trust the routine, not the miracle hype.
Trust the routine, not the hype. That's a great takeaway. Well, this has been incredibly practical, a really deep dive into how to learn English smartly. We've identified those big time wasters to cut out.
That constant translating, just passively watching, endlessly reviewing without applying.
And we've replaced them with concrete, efficient strategies and habits.
Like the short daily routine, shadowing, background listening, focusing on real-life words, setting small goals, using context, recording yourself, and speaking daily.
All underpinned by that quality over quantity mindset.
Exactly. The core message really is about optimizing your effort, using your precious time with full intention, making every minute count towards genuine growth by working with how your brain learns best, not against it.
Fantastic. Okay, listeners, now it's over to you. For our final segment, it's time for your daily challenge. We want you to take one concrete action right now, today, to start putting these ideas into practice.
That's right. Immediate action makes things stick. So you have two options. Please choose one, and if you can, do it as soon as this deep dive finishes.
Option 1, engage that mouth muscle immediately with some high-focus shadowing.
Pick just 3 short sentences or phrases you heard us say during this discussion. Rewind if you need to.
Maybe something like quality over quantity, or use new words 3 times, or speak out loud every day.
Yeah, grab a phrase that resonated, and then repeat it out loud right now 3 or 4 times, really focusing on matching our rhythm, our intonation, the music of the sentence. Just get your mouth moving with focus.
Okay, that's option 1, shadow 3 phrases. What's option 2?
Option 2 is to kickstart that self-narration habit immediately.
Talking to yourself.
Yep. Speak out loud just to yourself for 1 full minute. Describe what you did this morning, what you're doing right now, or what you plan to do next. Use simple English sentences.
Keep it super simple. I woke up at 7, I made coffee, the coffee was hot, now I am listening to this show. Later, I will go for a walk. Stuff like that.
Perfect. Just 1 uninterrupted minute of spoken practice. Get used to the feeling of producing English sounds. Build that crucial muscle memory today. So, choose your challenge. Shadow 3 phrases or speak for 1 minute. Do it now.
Excellent challenge.
And finally, building on everything we've discussed, we talked a lot about how using new words actively, maybe 3 times, makes them real and helps them stick.
Yeah.
And how mistakes are just valuable data, not failures.
Yeah.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to take away and maybe mull over. How could you deliberately, strategically design your next 24 hours or even just your next few hours to absolutely guarantee that you are forced to use at least 1 new English concept or word you learned recently in a genuine, real-life communicative situation?
Designing for forced application.
Yeah, think about it. Could you structure a conversation, choose a specific activity, or set up a situation where you have to try and use that new word or phrase? How can you engineer opportunities to turn those passive learning moments into immediate, active, real-world practice? Because finding ways to bridge that gap constantly, that intersection of learning, application, and real life, that's where the seriously accelerated fluency starts to happen.
That is a fantastic challenge, engineering opportunities for immediate use. Brilliant. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure. Keep applying these ideas.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and please use your time wisely.